and welcome to the Old Man Orange podcast. I'm Spencer Scott Holmes.
And I'm Ryan Dunigan. And I gotta say real quick, don't take this as me being mad or offended at all, but I had no idea that once the podcast is done that you kept on recording, because I noticed the last two or three after the fact, last two or three podcasts, maybe you won't do it this week. There's parts of conversations from like what we just had, the thing was still fucking recording. So I gotta be careful what I say, Mr. NSA over here.
I only use just like little funny tidbits that we had, or some of the stuff like we'll stop the podcast, but then we just keep talking, and then we start having these like really like other good conversations. I was like, well, fuck, I guess I'll throw that in there. And pretty much I got the idea because I saw like Arnold Radio News was doing it, where like they would have like little tidbits after like the podcast was done. So I'm like, well, I'll do that too. Like last time when you said that Tails thing, you're like, well, I guess I'm just Tails, and I was like, dude, that stuff's just too funny. And you don't have to really add in like why you said that. Just like start from that, and just the part we go on there. I thought it was hilarious.
I'll play his, yeah. Is that the whole thanks, man? But yeah, no. Now I just got to start looking out around you. I can't. Can I trust you? That's my real question. Can I trust you? Every time do I call you, do you think maybe he'll say some shit for the podcast? You know, like,
just
here's my problem with. You'll just get like me just saying like, you know, put it like just get me saying the worst possible shit. Like, here's my problem with Jews.
Just be like a really bad like 90s like shock jock like DJ where you just combined all these horrible things that like really aren't bad whatsoever when the guy said them, but out of context it becomes this horrible like issue.
Look, Spencer, here's my problem with the black community. Kind of like something like that. It's all like, see? Do you want this guy on a show?
And what it really was like, hey, you know what I got this problem with like the Black Adam, you know? He's got these issues as a character, but then changing that context to something else. You know, he doesn't really work very well for the community.
I have my problems with black people, you know?
I really like.
Why would you say, Ryan? Why would you say that? It's just true. You know?
I don't know. Must have been my upbringing.
Yeah, but no. Now I got to be careful now. Now since you edit the show, I'm like, shit. He could make me say anything. Fuck.
Dude, I got something that kind of adds to some older episodes that probably nobody but me and you really care about. But you know what? They finally re-released once again on DVD, so you can actually get a fucking copy of it.
You said this related to older episodes?
Yeah, well, it's something. It's a kind of one of those like small topics we've brought back many a times in our discussions. Yeah. You know, maybe not as big as like something like a Clint Eastwood or a Batman.
DVD, you said?
Okay, it's a DVD. I'll explain to you. They had it for the longest time. You know, they did such a small run of this DVD that it ended up being like $70 used on Amazon and eBay.
Okay. Because
there were so little copies of them.
I'm drawing a blank. I know the second you're saying, like, oh, how could I forget? Okay. But I'm drawing a blank.
It's from the 90s.
From the 90s. Encino Man?
That's easy to come by. It's based on a classic book.
Classic book. Oh, well, I never seen the movie, so it's probably not that. It's not Great Expectations. The only thing about Great Expectations is, Chris Cornell did that really good song for it.
No, not the 90s version of Great Expectations.
I never cared to see the movie. He just did a fantastic song for the soundtrack.
That song is one of Chris Cornell's like one of my top 3 favorite Chris Cornell songs, but the movie itself is just kind of weird.
All his soundtrack songs are always amazing. He always does great. I mean, his regular work's great, but his soundtrack work's always great. But no, anyway, shit. What was I saying?
It's a mini series. It's not like a full on like actual like theatrical movie.
It.
No.
The Stand?
No.
I'm be honest, I never seen The Stand.
It's a classic book, like as in like
old-timey literature?
Thousands of years old, yeah.
I don't know, fucking Mark Twain? Shit. Not Mark Twain, fucking. Not fucking Mark Twain, fucking.
It's like 1,000 years old, yeah, like fucking Mark Twain, man. Fucking like ancient.
I didn't mean like that. I meant like that for whatever.
No. They re-released.
Oh, Gulliver's
the Odyssey.
Travels, an Odyssey. Shit.
No. Okay, well, Gulliver's Travels is. You can sort of find that one. It happened to be a dual pack, but. Which Gulliver's Travels was really sweet too, but the main reason I bought this though was the Odyssey.
Yeah.
That thing has been out of print for so long, and it's always been really expensive. You know, I mean, people get these copies used, and they're selling for so much. But this was $7 for the 2 of them. Brand new.
We talked about that for like 3 weeks straight. I remember.
So, well, we could talk about it again once I start watching it. I just came in the mail today, but I was so excited when I saw that. I was like, I literally did the thing. I was at the flea market, and strange enough, I actually bought a copy of Gulliver's Travels on VHS for $1. I'm like, man, you don't see this movie anywhere.
Mm-hmm.
So I was like, I bought it, and then I was like, you know what? I started thinking of Gulliver's Travels, and I was talking to the guy about it. I'm like, if you ever run across a copy of the Odyssey, even if it's on VHS, I would love to have that. And we just started talking about how hard that was to come across. So I go home like, I'm just going to take a look. Maybe they re-released it. I don't know. I type it in. Boom, that pops up. With Gulliver's Travels, too.
Oh, there you go.
I was like, fucking A.
I remember Gulliver's Travels being like, because I remember the old stories were way more of kind of like, he went exploring, he fucked a bunch of women, he left the woman to take care of the kid, went back to exploring, And then the movie,
Then he got tied down by a bunch of little fellows.
And then eventually became friends.
Which are actually just regular-sized people.
And then I remember they did that. We watched that movie in like one of the English classes in high school. And I remember it's one of those things, he's in court, and I don't think this was in the original book, but he's all like defending himself in court, saying like, this guy's gone fucking crazy, and he's like literally talking about like, I was with the horse people, and they called me loony or whatever, and they, he was just going down, like there's one world where he's like the big guy, there's another world where he's like the small guy, and there's a bunch of big people, all that kind of thing. And then eventually, like, we're gonna put this guy in the loony bin, and the little kid walks out with like a tiny like sheep. Like, where the fuck did he get this from then? If it's not real, so yeah.
Yeah, where did he get this tiny ass sheep?
Yeah, that's how I remember the movie. I remember being kind of like actually liking it. I remember enjoying it, but I mean, I don't know if it would hold up now. Sometimes if you kind of go in.
I remember watching it.
Go ahead.
I was gonna say, I remember watching it when it came out, and I really enjoyed it. But I haven't seen it. I used to have like a taped copy of it off TV. But I don't think I've seen it in like years. But they have this. I saw there's other ones of these classic adventure collections, is what they're titling these. For people that like, these are the kind of things that's like, if you gave this to like a kid, you're like, hey Johnny, learn about history, and he'd be like, oh, that looks cool, and then he'd kind of go, oh, they're fucking miniseries.
Yeah,
I'm not too sure, because the only thing about some miniseries is like they don't always hold up nearly as well. I really hope the Odyssey does. I mean, I was looking at the reviews, and people still said, they're like, no, this movie fucking holds up. And yeah, some of the effects are a little bit, dated, but the movie itself is fucking awesome. So I'm okay, good.
I mean, that's the thing I like about Amazon reviews, is they're so like passionate when even it's something like, I mean, all right, here's some Amazon reviews. I sometimes enjoy reading them because it's kind of interesting to see something that most people hate and see like a couple of people that are so passionate about it, like defend it like no other. But I've read some like Amazon, like, this movie's really great, very underrated, on like movies I fucking hated. So it's one of the things I sometimes got to take it with a grain of salt, but regardless, it is kind of like interesting hearing someone say, no. Encino Man is a tour de force,
No, yeah, they'll go on like a fucking 5-paragraph explanation. Like, let me explain why. I'll break it down for you. And that's why, like...
Yes, this is what they had to work with at the time, but if you consider it, this really brought back the caveman movement back in the cinema back in the they have this very elaborate, like, whole history of the whole thing.
Well, I'll say this, too. When you know that there's a lot of negative reviews on there on Amazon, something's really bad. Like when like it's not appealing to anybody. Because I've literally had some moments where like I didn't buy something because there was enough negative reviews, and I was like, they're probably right. Because that's the one thing I love about Amazon is like that you can take a movie that might like I got panned somewhere else. Fucking Amazon, there'll be people there to defend it to the end.
Well, that's another example right there, because like what I was saying earlier, because like there's the movie The Room, which is people consider to be one of the worst movies ever made, and I just for the fuck of it went and looked on Amazon, and there are people on there that legitimately love that movie. They don't speak of it as if it's like as if it's so bad it's good and comes back around that way. I mean, those reviews are there, but they'll speak like, no. People just don't get it. This movie is so ahead of its time. They just haven't caught on yet. And just like, have you seen the same fucking movie? But I mean...
Yeah, sometimes you never really know. But I noticed on this classic collections, they had a couple other like dual packs of these like pretty much 90s miniseries of like historical stuff. There's like the Merlin one. Do you remember that one? It had Sam Neill in it.
I never saw it, but I heard of it.
I remember watching it when it came out. I couldn't tell you anything about it now, but I remember it being pretty cool. Sometimes just once again, like, I don't know. There was a time period where like those made-for-TV movies were really sweet. Now, some of them, you go back and watch them, and you kind of go, okay, a couple of those Stephen King ones are just kind of okay. Or sometimes they do kind of drag out a bit, I do notice. But then you do get good ones like, it's a pretty damn good one for being, in a sense, a PG horror movie. It's super scary.
I still actually have only seen parts of it. I've never seen the whole thing.
I got to let you borrow it. I only got it on VHS, but it's a sweet movie.
I'll figure something out. Yeah. I can probably buy VHS for down like.
You can probably just get the DVD copy and like for cheaper and less of a hassle than trying to watch a VHS.
Probably copy. That's a good point. Probably just go to like a $5 bin somewhere or whatever. But yeah, maybe $10 bin. But no, I actually a little bit ago saw Tomorrowland.
Oh yeah, how was that movie?
It was good. It wasn't amazing. I mean, I liked it. It was Brad. It was like. I would
see. That's how. Like when I looked at the trailer, that's how that was like my review already from it. I was like, it looks like it could be interesting. I can't imagine amazing.
It was. Let me put it this way. It was two things that kind of caught my. Well, it's all right. I always kind of like that 1950s kind of retro, like what will the future be like kind of stuff. That could always be kind of entertaining, and then finding a way to make it look cool. And this with like modern visual effects this day and age. And then on top of that, the other two, probably the two biggest selling points for it was George Clooney and being the next Brad Bird movie. And I mean, it was good. I liked it. I don't feel the need to go out and buy it or nothing. But it's one of those.
It wasn't a Pirates of the Caribbean. Let's just say that.
No, it's not that. Disney. I noticed something like things under the Disney label. Like they did an amazing job with like Pirates of the Caribbean 1. But ever since then, when it comes to like Disney action movies or Disney adventure movies, they've been having trouble doing that. If it's like under the Marvel label, it's fine, or something, or another label like Dimension or whatever. But if it's ever since they did like Pirates of the Caribbean, they've been trying to like make another big like Disney adventure movie. But that's like
it just hasn't panned out.
I mean, not Lone Ranger was everyone else hated.
Oh yeah. I guess I forgot that was a Disney one.
It was enjoyable. I mean, it was definitely fucking flawed, but it was an enjoyable movie.
Yeah, it's an enjoyable one. But because that first Pirates of the Caribbean, like if as long as you get past the hype and all that stuff, that is a really fucking good movie. That very first one. I think what happened is because they went on a ballsy limb. They just said, "Fuck it, let's try this." At the last second, they're like, cover the Disney logos. Don't let them see it.
They did, because it was their first PG-13 that was under the Disney logo. Oh, actually, rather a Phantom logo. Because I remember when the movie came back, when it came out, I didn't even know it was Disney. I just thought it was like just some movie that came out. There were pirates in the Caribbean, so...
Yeah, I know. So it's not like it's like the only Pirates of the Caribbean was in Disneyland.
Then I saw a few little things. Like, okay, that must be a little nod or reference to it. And then watching the... credits at the end. I was like, wait, what's
finally a Disney logo comes up at the very end?
Not even like a Disney logo, just like in very small, like Walt Disney Pictures presents Pirates of the Caribbean. Just really quick like that. And then I remember walking out after the credits, walking out and looking at the poster in very, very small print at the credits,
yeah.
Very bottom, just like Walt Disney production. As if as if it was Mickey Mouse just shrugging, like, yeah, it's there. Don't hate us.
Don't judge us. If your kids decide to all jump up onto a pirate ship and go off for, plundering and rape, wasn't our fault.
Exactly, because that one was actually... Then people are like, no, we love it. Like, oh, really? You like it? Yeah, Disney doing PG-13 actually really worked out.
Well, guess what? Pirates of the Caribbean 2. Disney.
Suck our fat mouse cock, man. Yeah, Disney, that shit.
People are all like going up there like... It's just like, oh man, they fucking love this shit.
I love you actually made the fucking hand motions like a big giant circular.
All I picture is just like this big like balloon animal like Mickey Mouse cock flowing in the theater, just like smacking people in the face, knocking popcorn out of their hands. People are grabbing onto it like, yeah, fucking sucking the dick of Mickey.
Like just fucking like Mickey just rips the roof like a giant Mickey rips the roof off the theater like
he's fucking Godzilla or something like that.
Y'all ready for Pirates too? Yeah! Like when they're done, like, oh, it was good. Not as amazing as the last one, but good. I'm hoping the third one's gonna be better. Oh man, we're fucked.
That's at least the fourth one was kind of like the comeback movie.
Yeah.
But it was one of those movies, like, by that point, even though that movie made a copious amount of money, it didn't seem like it really stuck around enough for, like, that.
It was kind of like there.
Yeah, well, because they made, like, it was like a record-selling movie, but then it just kind of came and went, and I don't hear anybody talk about that fourth one.
Number four?
Pirates of the Caribbean 4.
Yeah.
It was like something the tide. I own the movie. I can't fucking remember the title. The Tides of
Change. I don't know. That sounds like a
the tides.
documentary.
Tides of Change because we got rid of Orlando
And we
Bloom.
got the guy who basically is Orlando Bloom minus the the fluctuation in pay, and the mermaid girl, who's basically Keira Knightley. So
Yeah, well, don't they have Catherine Zeta-Jones in that one? Or
they have not Catherine Zeta-Jones, someone Penelope Cruz.
It's Penelope Cruz.
And
Yeah, that's right.
Somebody big was Blackbeard. I don't remember who exactly, but somebody. I don't even remember it that well. I remember liking it, but
I only watched it once, and I own the movie, and I've only watched it once.
I own all of them, but that one. It's like I own number 3, but not this one. I feel kind of bad, but at the same time, I don't feel the need. That was that point where it's like I'm a completionist. I bought 1 and 2 because I liked 1 a lot, and I liked 2 not as much, but I liked it. Then I went to go see 3, and 3 was just all right, But I was just like,
I would like to watch it again though, because I actually have yet to see 3 since the theater. And that was like that movie too. I remember coming out of the theater, me and you just being like, "Huh, man, that was just kind of okay." Not even Keith Richards could save it.
And I remember going to school the next day. Cisco was like, "Fuck this fucking movie."
Yeah, Cisco hated it. He was like, "The only good part was Keith Richards for that 2.5 minutes." And like, I just remember going to school and everybody was like, "Dude, that movie was fucking sick. That was probably the best Pirates yet." And I was like, "What? The third one would be the best one?" It's like there's not enough action in it, not enough Keith Richards.
We could just measure it on a Keith Richards scale.
It's one of those movies I'd like to go back and watch it, because I bet you if I watched it now, I'd probably go, okay, I like it maybe a little bit more. I'm not going to say it's going to change my mind, but like sometimes knowing what you're going into.
Hi, Laura.
Ryan says hello.
Hi.
Yeah. Anyway. But like that.
What was that all leading from? Oh, Tomorrowland.
Yeah, well, anyway, I'll say this: like number 3, I've seen it since then. It's still all right. It's not amazing, but by the time 4 came out, I don't know if I care enough to go out and buy it. But because now I'm at the point where I have so many DVDs where it's just kind of like I really got to like something now to buy it, or I got to at least be extremely, extremely curious to buy a movie. Like
or continue on.
Like Tomorrowland, though, that one right there was.
Well, I was gonna say this really quick before you go into that part.
Okay.
I have so many movies that it would take me over, if I watched one movie a night every single day, for me to go through my entire collection would take me over 4.5 years.
I believe that.
So that's the point sometimes where you go, okay, maybe I don't. There's certain movies like, yeah, I don't know if you need them.
When you and me discovered the magic of the Washington Street pawn shop, I mean, it was basically like an arms race between us,
it was like me, you, and Cisco. It was like, who can get the most DVDs?
You were number 1.
There was that
I was
period
number
where
2.
just like buying movies so much. There was 1 month I bought 200 movies in 1 month. I remember.
Well, it was one of those things. You'd go there. There'd be like maybe 3 movies you'd want, and then you maybe come across like 2 or 3 more that you weren't looking for, but you'd be like, oh my god, they got this, yeah. And then you would be kind of like,
well, you get that deal for like $12 for like 20 of them.
And then you get yeah, exactly. But then to finish that deal off, to make it more worth your while, like, oh well, I never seen this movie, but yeah, sure, I like Michael Douglas. Let's see how this goes, And then like you just end up with like at least this whole other side collection of movies you didn't really want, you didn't really have that much interest in. Like, oh well, Kevin Bacon's in it. So, maybe it's good. We'll find out. Never did, because I ended up selling it.
Well, you get to that point where you got about 9 movies that, like, you at least wanted or somewhat wanted, and then you'd have to pick about 3 or 4 of them that you'd be like, okay, I just got to get 12 now so I can get the deal. And then you just kind of randomly pick movies. Like, I bought some stupid movies, but for some reason, like, in the heat of the moment, they seemed like a good idea.
Let's give Lake Placid 2 a chance. Something.
Yeah, no, literally, I would buy movies like that. I'd buy stupid sequels to horror movies. And there's some horror movies where, like, the sequels get better. Like, Friday the 13th Part 8 is the best Friday the 13th. And that sounds like a weird one because it's number 8. It's, like, so far down the line. But that one's really good.
I'm going to say it. Let's give Python versus Mega Snake a shot. Let's just see what happens.
I mean, I know on the back, I know for a fact that none of these images are actually going to be in the movie, but I'm giving it a chance.
It's photoshopped right there. This actor is probably not even in there. That's what a lot of those movies are. If you can't find a screenshot, it's all like a photoshopped image. That's always like a red flag.
Yeah, that's always the one you be cautious of. But Tomorrowland.
Oh, yeah, that. Anyway, no, it was good.
Yeah, one of those movies that if we went to the pawn shop, probably be that one. Oh, I gotta get 3 more movies. Well, there's Tomorrowland.
Oh, Clooney.
Well, let me see. Let me just. Let me browse through. Okay, I guess I'm getting Tomorrowland now.
It'd be that mid range. It'd be that kind of like, because I could watch it again because there were parts I genuinely liked. And I'm not even saying like, oh, it's okay. Like I liked it. It's just there was that. It'd be more of kind of like there. It'd be that mid range movie. There's like the oh my god, I really want this. Then there's the oh I want this, and then there's the oh yeah, I mean
I guess I'll take
I
it.
like it. I saw it once a few years ago. I enjoyed it. It has like some actors I like, and then there's the kind of like oh this is okay, or let's find out what this is. You know what I mean? So it's kind of like around that point. Um, Basically the whole thing is Tomorrowland's this whole other plane of existence where all like the best and brightest and smartest people go to try and like further the future and further mankind, and only certain people can get there. And it kind of opens up with young George Clooney, like boy George Clooney, and he. Well, I guess maybe I'll just explain the concept rather than the whole fucking story. Most of the movie is they're trying to actually get there. There's flashes and images of being there at one point in time, but they're trying to actually. It's more of those movies rather than taking place in Tomorrowland. They're trying to get to Tomorrowland. And when they actually do get back to Tomorrowland, it's kind of like they take place like in the same like two rooms, basically. You know.
Huh.
It's one of those things.
Just kind of hanging out.
It is like a sci-fi movie, and basically what ends up happening is the very beginning, George Clooney goes to like back in the 60s, he goes to like this world fair where they're just kind of like, okay, yeah, come show your invention. And he goes to this really pretentious guy. I don't remember the actor's name, but he's the star of House. He's that actor.
Okay.
He's basically the villain of the movie. He goes to him. He says, "Hey, I built this jetpack. It's this old like Rocketeer 1950s looking jetpack, barely strapped together. You know, George Clooney's basically a boy genius. Well, at least the kid version of him is a boy genius. Anyway, so and then he says like, oh yeah, well, it doesn't work. So get the fuck out of here. This little girl that's with the guy gives him this kid." And they're going into it's a small world because I guess even though it's in New York, they have it's a display of it's a small world there. He goes there. When he goes through it, transports him.
They're like, nobody would give us the funding for It's a Small World movie, but we're going to jam it into
exactly. You thought you were going to see Tomorrowland,
way.
but we're getting you It's a Small World, you know? So basically, he goes to, it's his little Small World ride, goes through there. He teleports him to Tomorrowland, basically. And then you have this really cool, like, 5-10 minute scene of this kid kind of landing there and just kind of like stumbling his way through. You know, he'd land on a moving platform, then fall off, but then like he'd grapple onto a robot, then he'd get his jetpack working, fly by, you know. So it's this really cool kind of like 10-minute action scene of this kid just getting to Tomorrowland and just trying to avoid death basically because he got there, he used the back door to get there rather than the main entrance because he wasn't supposed to get there, but basically got snuck in by the girl. So they're like, oh well, this kid got here, he knows what he's doing, so let's give him a shot. And we jump years later, and we're focusing on a girl whose dad used to work for NASA, but he's unemployed now, and now she's just getting into trouble and all that. And she's really smart, but she ends up like basically coming across like one of these pins that take you there. And she tracks her down to. I mean, I'm going over the whole movie. I'm just trying to think of the best way because it's one of those movies like I could just kind of. It's one of those movies where I can kind of just say the bare bones of it, and it would be very much kind of like that's it, you know. You know, when he actually does, when she actually
it just seems like one of those like kind of like somewhat convoluted plots that has all the it makes sense when you see it. When you're sort of explaining it just sounds partially confusing.
Plus, I'm used to like when we both see a movie, we're both bouncing off like, oh right, you didn't see this, and I'm just kind of. At some point, basically, she bumps into George Clooney. Here's the thing I like about George Clooney. George Clooney, because now he's like all jaded. She's trying to get back. She's trying to get to Tomorrowland because basically, if you touch the pin, you can see it, but you're not part of it. So she's trying to actually get there. So she's going to George Clooney, and he's all grown up now, and he's all like, I don't give a fuck. Life's a bunch of bullshit, whatever. And when she goes to him, he has like. He's basically kind of like, look, it's not real. This is a thing to make you feel special. You're not special. No one's special. We're all a bunch of just, you know, whatever, just throws it back at her and walks away.
He's just like out there like shooting heroin on the street. Like, nothing's special. You're not special. I'm not special. My jetpack's not special.
I was in Tomorrowland once. Yeah, they had better heroin there. That's how I got kicked out.
And I'm trying to get back to Tomorrowland with every new needle.
with every puncture, I feel a little bit closer to the future. You know, so basically. And I'll say this, George Clooney, that guy is so fucking suave and so charming. He could be telling you you're a stupid fucking asshole with no ability, and you'd be like, you're probably right.
Yeah, it's George.
He just has that because there's moments where he's just like full on destroying this girl, insulting her intelligence, telling her to go home, fuck you, give up. What's the point? And it's just like, oh, George.
It was like, fuck you, give up. What's the point? The noose is hanging in your bedroom. Go use it, goddammit.
Oh, Mr. Clooney. Well, even when he's just being kind of like a grumpy old bitch, he's still just likable for whatever reason. Then eventually the little girl that gave him the pin in the beginning, she comes back and she's actually a robot. And she's kind of tagging along on the adventure. So they're just basically trying to get back to Tomorrowland. And when they do get back, it's kind of all like vacant and no one's there. And just trying to... They find out the world's basically about to end. And it's got like 58 days before it ends. And they, the guy who now runs Tomorrowland's like, yeah, fuck y'all. We were the House. I don't remember his real name, but House. He's just basically like, yeah, fuck y'all. You ain't coming in here. We got. There's only a few of us, and yeah, so fuck you guys. You ain't coming in. Mm-hmm. And basically, they're trying to get the guy to change, and he basically just kind of hates humanity for like. He's just like, we tried sending you. I mean, I could try and explain the reasons why, but it would just take up so much time and be so uninteresting. It's one of those things. You more or less just got to see the movie. It's like two of us saw it, and we're talking about it here, then yeah, but one of us just kind of going off, then this happens, and yeah, so fuck it.
Yeah, it was one of those ones when this happened, and then a spaceship comes out of the sky with George Clooney piloting it.
Exactly.
And then he lands down, and there's a talking dog. And then George Clooney gets on a camel and rides across the Sierra. And you're like, what the fuck is going on in this movie?
I want to see this movie you're talking about. With that narrator over the whole movie.
It's kind of funny. I was reading this, I bought this pack a while ago. It was it was a couple, they had a bunch of Daredevil stuff on sale on Comixology. So I just bought a handful of different ones. And I got this one that was it was the Frank Miller ones. Well, the first couple issues were these Frank Miller where he just drew it and somebody else kind of wrote it. And I will say this. This is kind of where the difference of DC and Marvel kind of goes. You can read a 70s Marvel comic and they hold up pretty well. They got good stories still going on with them and whatnot. Where sometimes the Marvel ones just kind of have, they are literally that comic-y book-likeness. Where you just don't see Daredevil kind of being this guy like, hey there, fella. Come on, Spidey. Come on, Webhead. Let's get out of here. We need to really get this going. Just the way it's just there's so many of these lines in that book where I was just I never pictured Daredevil using this tone. Spider-Man could get away with calling, but they'd be like, hey, Webhead, hey, Hornhead.
Is this 70s Marvel or is this 80s?
Yeah, it's 77. I want to say these issues were.
Well, they're I guess it was.
They're literally Frank Miller's first kind of work at Marvel.
Well, I guess that kind of makes sense as far as Daredevil's concerned because it wasn't really till the 80s. Till they really kind of grittied up Daredevil. They made it kind of Taxi Driver.
Well, I think it wasn't until the point where they said hey, Frank, you want to write this too? Yes, I've been fucking waiting this whole time, reading your fucking shit and drawing to it.
Being blind's pretty fucking awesome, let me tell you.
Well, it was it was because it was just kind of a couple random Spider-Man issues, and this one issue Spider-Man was blind in it, so he was kind of fuck it, just can't do it, Daredevil, just can't. And Daredevil has to explain to Spider-Man that he's blind, and he gets along with it fine and stuff, but Spider-Man's just what's the point? It fucking sucks! I can't do anything, I'm a shitty superhero!
I just got the image of Spider-Man just swinging around, slapping at buildings, I can't fucking go! And trying to jump off, and just...
It's almost like that.
A very
and he's just no, I'm fucking retarded! Do you know what it's like being retarded? Fucking blind is the worst form of retardation. And it's just Daredevil's in his head. He's really want to just punch him in the fucking face and tell him that I'm the blind fucking superhero and I'm kicking ass day in, day out as a blind fucking man and it's not being retarded.
There's I just got the image of Spider-Man swinging through a window, crashing through, just a bunch of glass shards stuck in him. I'm fucking blind! Just withering on the fucking ground. I can't see shit, Daredevil!
Well, it's also the point where just just do it. Just bash me in if you can. Just brains everywhere. I just can't go on. And fucking Daredevil's like, okay, come on,
Like
like I'll
fucking
just
Matt Damon and
here,
Departed.
give me your hand.
Like fucking Matt Damon and Departed.
Point,
Just
point your
fucking
web
kill me,
shooters
man.
this direction.
Just fucking kill me.
Point your web shooters this direction. And I'll guide you to where we need to go.
I know that's not what's happening. Just the narration you were given. I was just thinking that part in like Departed. Matt Damon's just like, just fucking kill me, man.
But then it goes back to being like, he's like, come on, Webhead, I'll get you going. There, no need to fret now. I'm Daredevil.
There's that famous picture of like Spider-Man like swinging, and he has like the guy in his arm or something like that. You just kind of have the reverse of that with Daredevil and Spider-Man just like covering his eyes, like crying.
That's practically how it is. And it's like the whole time Daredevil's like, I guess it's like, well, okay, this is Spider-Man like when he's in like college, and like Daredevil's like, I can't tell him. It's like, how long have they been knowing each other? He's still not gonna tell him the secret. It's Spider-Man. Well,
it's 70s. Spider-Man came out in the early 60s, so I guess almost 20 years by that point, probably.
Yeah, but the fact that Daredevil and Spider-Man never shared identities.
Maybe, I don't know.
Well, actually, technically, I guess Daredevil knows who Spider-Man is because he has his mask off at one point.
Well, well, I mean, it's one of those things. Marvel was one of the first ones to have like continual stories, but I mean, there's some stuff they really waited on for a long ass time. They didn't reveal that to Aunt May that he was Spider-Man until like fucking like 2001 or 99.
Until like she was on like her deathbed, just like
that bitch is still alive.
Yeah, well, I know that, but like, that's just like how long he's practically waited. Just be like, you know how you always wondered what all that sticky stuff was all over my clothes?
I know, Peter, you're gay. You're gay, Peter. I know. It's okay. You're always sneaking boys in after I go to sleep. I understand. I love you anyway. No, that's it. That's goodbye, Peter. Dies right there.
Just like, no, I should have fucking told him earlier.
It was you and that nice blind boy down the road. The guy going to law school, right?
Yeah, you guys used to make a ruckus in there in the room. I didn't bother.
I just heard you screaming, I'm blind! I'm blind! Like you were blind in love. I didn't know what you're talking about, but...
It's just boys will be boys, I guess.
Wonder if he ever had any, like, webby socks. Like, just, like, fucking gym socks. They're just filled with web. He was just testing like, shooter out in that. And like Uncle Ben's like, oh god damn it already. When he doing the laundry.
He steps on the sock, it sticks to the bottom of his foot, like fuck.
When I was a kid, this shit came right off. Why won't it fucking leave?
Fuck it. He just keeps like walking, it's just like sticking everywhere he's going.
Wherever he's going. He's just like, you just hear just this where he's walking, he gets his even foot stuck on the ground just for a second. Like, oh, god damn it. Like, what is it? Oh, I stepped in my nephew's jizzy sock again.
He's really going hard at it.
May tells me not to talk to him about it, but, fucking, maybe she knows best. I don't know.
It's always him and Hornhead he always refers to.
The day he finally goes to talk to him about, like, his fucking, like, look, just start doing your own fucking laundry. What do you mean, Uncle Ben? I'm just saying, you gotta be a man. You're like, fuck you, Uncle Ben! Leaves, and then when, like, that's the, like, last argument he had with Uncle Ben, and trying to tell him to, like, fucking wash his socks, he jizzes into him.
I don't know, but I think it's one of those books. Like once we get to the part where Frank Miller starts writing it, I think it'll change. Not like it's bad, but it has like that very Super Frenzy feel, like that kind of comic book style.
Yeah, I think.
Which, strange enough, it feels like DC was already like past that Super Friends style of comic after the '60s.
I think that things would happen like generally. One of them would do something kind of drastic. Well, I think Marvel was usually ahead. Marvel was usually a little bit, most of the time, usually ahead. But I think...
Really? I always think... I mean, like, I know in the 60s, obviously, they stepped ahead at that point. But it seems like in the 70s, DC kind of went ahead once they finally got Denny O'Neil and Neil Adams kind of in there writing for Batman and Green Arrow and Green Lantern and so on.
Well, I think that kind of came later because once they actually had because they were doing things like
Traveling Heroes starts out in '68.
Well, yeah, that's Traveling Heroes, but I mean things like you had like by that point, I want to say you had Iron Man like Demon in a Bottle. You had things like maybe that came out like after Traveling Heroes, but I want to say you had Demon in the Bottle. You had things like there was the Spider-Man story where he quits, he throws the suit away, and comes back around later. So they had like they kind of, I want to say like Marvel was the one that kind of making the characters more like three-dimensional rather than just like we go out and fight crime because it's fun. They started focusing more on like their outside life, and DC.
Well, I think that's what Marvel did is they focus on the outside life, which that's all in this story.
And then I think that
so
DC maybe was the one that became more like they focused more on social things going on around them. So with Traveling Heroes and all that, I think that's where DC made their next big move. Where Marvel, their whole thing was, we have continual stories and we focus more on the outside life.
Yeah, the relatable characters and so on.
Mm-hmm. And then I think that kind of like DC had a little bit of trouble until Frank Miller came along. Until like, well, I mean, they had those Vertigo comics, but they had like Swamp Thing and Sandman. But then once like I think Frank Miller came to like Dark Knight Returns, I think that's where everything kind of shipped around again.
Yeah, but no, it's just something that's kind of funny when you get to like those like Super Friends styles comics. Or the one thing that this is what I always notice about older Marvel comics compared to DC ones though is they have a lot. I mean, DC still has it, but there's a lot of fucking like narration in them.
Oh, I know.
Like just like that very like. Soon, Spider-Man swings through the city in New York City in the bright sunny day. It's like, oh, okay, that's nice. He's like, he thinks to himself about what he's going to do next. Oh, okay. Spider-Man's like thinking, he's like, I should go find out what Hornhead's doing, and then come in a sock later. Spider-Man decides to make a plan for later. He pulls out his notepad and writes down what he was going to do. Later, Mary Jane is walking down the hall.
God, this is a long haul.
Okay. I know. It's just like, yeah, it's just like sometimes just like that narration. It's almost like a novel where it's like they get way too too many details, and they spend like 3 paragraphs describing like somebody's like T-shirt.
I noticed that Frank Miller would start, and it's kind of what Kevin Smith took from when he was writing comics. He would almost only give the narration to things you really wouldn't know. Like at the very beginning.
Well, that's the inner monologue. That's different than
not even that. No, not even inner monologue. Literally, just like there is a narrator, but it was only information you would not know, and it was kind of written a little bit more poetically. For instance, like there was, and like I want to say, Born Again, when Carol Danvers about to when she's about to sell out Matt Murdock's secret for a hit of heroin. It's like she knows it's bad, but she knows the junk is good, this and that, has this real...
She's looking, showing up to George Clooney's house.
Yeah. You got that Tomorrowland heroin? I need to escape yesterday and go to tomorrow. Come on, man.
You gotta tell me, who is old Hornhead's identity? I gotta know who the Hornhead is.
No, so like it would be that kind of thing, or it'd be like, or something kind of like I'm paraphrasing here, but something like in Dark Knight Returns, like when like or like well actually I guess that's still the internal monologue. Because Dark Knight Returns is all internal monologue, and I'm thinking back on it, but I remember a lot of his.
I don't remember too much. Narration.
A lot of his Daredevil stuff would have like a narrator, but would be more of like things that is a little bit more poetically rather than something to the effect of like me. Meanwhile, at the Hall of Justice, it would be something like Captain America would show up, like, and it would be something more like he's not sure about the colors. What was it? Oh yeah, it was something to the effect of like, with a voice that can command a god, he tells him the details, and but when he says the voice that command a god, behind it has like a picture of like Thor behind him, kind of a silhouette, because they're all like stopping Daredevil from attacking Nuke or whatever, because the Avengers need him for whatever reason. So.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Been a long day, but yeah, no.
I know, it's like all those ones, like Jibu.
Yeah. What was I gonna say though? They're like regarding Tomorrowland though. Just going back to that for a second. Oh shit! 1 second. Put a pin in it for a minute.
Okay.
All right, and I'm back. Sorry about that.
Not a problem.
Okay. Anyway.
So what are you saying about Tomorrowland?
I already fucking forgot. So
Yeah, probably.
it was
But
good.
yeah,
It
Tomorrowland.
was good.
It's a decent movie.
It sounds like it was just kind of like okay. I mean, I liked it, but it's really one of those movies I just can't really fucking talk about it for too long without boring people. I think it is a movie that kind of just.
Well, I think this kind of happens when like a movie like that comes out, but it's surrounded by a bunch of other really big, really good movies.
Mhm.
Because that always seems to bring down other ones. You know what I mean? Like after you kind of watch Mad Max and you watch Avengers 2
Mhm.
and you watch, well, even something like, I know you didn't see it, but like San Andreas. Like once you start seeing a bunch of really good movies in a row, then you go see a movie that's like not nearly up to par as those ones, and it almost brings it down even farther. So like, well, it was good, just you know, you know.
No, I know exactly what
George
you mean.
Clooney.
No, it was good. Just George Clooney, just being George Clooney. You know, and that's enjoyable. But yeah.
Yeah, one of those kind of things. But you know what I actually was watching recently that I've never actually sat down and watched the whole thing before is Dragon Ball GT.
Really.
The only stuff I've ever seen in Dragon Ball GT was back in like the late '90s when it first like Dragon Ball Z and Dragon Ball were kind of in the U.S. and they were hard to find stuff. You know, you'd go on the internet and you'd watch, you know, bits and pieces of GT episodes because they were just coming out at the time from Japan, and you just kind of like would piece together this stuff from like, you know, things that people poorly subtitled.
Mhm.
You know, like they really had no idea what they were just writing anything they want. But as a kid, you believed it because why would the internet lie?
Well, everybody would make the characters swear a lot more. Is that what you knew?
Yeah, I know that because people would be like, "Yeah, that's what it's like in Japan." People are like, Goku's swearing like every other word is "fuck" out of his mouth, and you're like, "Really?" They're like, "Yeah."
Yeah, you know, in translation,
this is the point
Gohan,
too where like nobody.
Gohan translate to cockwad back in Japan, so that's why whenever he refers to Gohan, he just says cockwad.
Well, this is a period too where like it was that sort of time where nobody really thought the internet lied at first. It was just kind of like it was still in like its infancy. Like, why would somebody go on? Why would somebody just go out in the world and just start making shit up? You know,
Well, there always would be that one kid that would just say, like, on the playground, there always would be that one kid, like, yeah, I saw like this one, um, episode of Pokemon where like
where Misty was in the shower.
Misty was in the shower and she and Brock were fucking, and then like Ash walked in.
It's like a Japanese thing though. You know, we don't. That's the stuff they cut out in the U.S.
That's like in the kids. That's like they have that in kids shows over there. It's not a big deal, you know. It's on like their Saturday morning, and like Ash walks in, like Brock kicks the fuck out of him. They go back to fucking in the shower, and then later they battle over at the fire guy. I don't fucking remember his name. Blaine, the gym leader.
But yeah, it's like I've heard people would just make up those random like really like that thing, and it's like I think it's that thing where people get confused where somebody writes a little article that says, hey, you know, a lot of these animes in the U.S. are getting edited down, and then he stops reading the article from that point on and just starts filling in the rest.
It's like those motherfuckers. So that was one of those things you could also find, like, I guess Photoshop maybe or some form of it existed back then, but I think if you came across like some photoshopped image back then, you're like, oh my god, you know, this must be real. And then now it's just one of those things like, oh well, you know, that's fake.
I can point out a Photoshop image now. Yeah.
Back then,
there's a period though where like
here and they cut shit out, and then like with the combination of some poorly made like fuzzy Photoshop image on like the internet back in 1998, you could probably I could see I could fall for that. I remember go ahead, sorry.
I was just gonna say, well, I started watching just the full-on Dragon Ball GT, like, you know, our U.S. version. That because by the time they finally got GT out to the U.S., I mean, it was at that point where it wasn't like I was like not into Dragon Ball Z, but it wasn't. There was other shows I was watching by that point because it was taking them so long to get those things out that I almost want to say that was the time period where it might have been farther past than this, but like when I was watching Full Metal Alchemist and things like that, Big O and those kind of shows, pretty much the Adult Swim stuff.
I remember what they did was, and this actually pissed some people off, didn't bother me none, but I remember, because Dragon Ball Z, the Funimation dub said that, Dragon, rock the dragon, they had that song, where...
The Canadian version?
That was the Canadian version? Well, when GT came out, they had like a different one. It was like a rap song, like "Yo, Dragon Ball GT." It's like a rap metal song of like Dragon Ball GT, and that literally, because we were a little redneck town, that pissed people off. Kind of like rapping a Japanese anime. What's that doing there? No, no, no. I want my. It's just like you. Are you fucking kidding me? Really? Really? I would talk to like two or three people that were pissed off. There was like rap or like rap rock even in fucking and like
in Dragon Ball. Well, people hold Dragon Ball at such a sacred level, so it
it's like
doesn't take
Rock
much
the
to
Dragon wasn't in the fucking original version, so I know that was.
no. Well, this version doesn't have that. This one's got like just the Japanese song like translated into English.
That they got now they got another Dragon Ball Z movie coming out this summer too.
I know, they got the new TV show coming out in Japan in July.
Dragon Ball Super.
But the GT, I'm a couple discs into it so far, and it's actually like they do the thing of like they kind of go like, what's the things that people like the most about it? Well, they love the Avenger part of Dragon Ball, but they do like some of the action of Dragon Ball Z. But then there was a points where it got too ridiculous. So how can we meet a happy medium? And that's sort of like what it is. It's like, because did you ever really sit down and watch Dragon Ball GT other than like random episodes?
I watched the first like probably 10 episodes of it, and I fell behind and I just stopped. And I didn't really, I mean, I didn't hate it, but it didn't really jump out at me as much. I think there's also a little bit of this thing like, well, Akira Toriyama didn't have a hand in it, so whatever. And this is also the same thing right here. This is the same guy, because it would be like, it was, when I talk about that guy, they just kind of tell you that shit, like, then this happens and that happens, and he like I was like it would basically be one of like three or four people. One guy told me that basically the way GT ends is everybody dies, every single person dies, and the dragon wipes everybody out. That's what he told me how it ends. Looking back, I don't really know how it ends now, but I don't know how it ends. I want to say Goku becomes like the spirit of the dragon or something like that, but I'm pretty sure it doesn't end that way. I'm pretty sure that right now he's bullshitting me.
Yeah.
He's like, that's how they die. They all die painfully, and the fucking dragon takes everything over. So no one hearing that and then kind of seeing these battles that kind of went on and on and on, I would just be going, I'm not really as interested in Akira Toriyama. And I guess it was one of those things like, I understand they got to up the stakes, but it'd be one of those things like, each villain they fought would be like stronger than the next, which made sense, but it'd be more of like there's at least reason. Like, okay, Frieza, most powerful guy in the universe, whatever. Well, Cell's stronger because he takes all the data of every fighter and just infuses into one. So it makes sense why he'd be stronger than Frieza. Majin Buu, okay, well, this is like a genie that's been encapsulated in like this lamp or whatever since before Frieza was ever born. So he's ancient, evil, fine, whatever. Then in GT, we're just like, yeah, we were just like wandering through space, and there's this guy who's like metal, and he kind of fuses with the whole fucking planet. And he's stronger than Majin Buu. How about that shit? And just like, oh, okay, I guess this, so.
Yeah, there is those sort of things. Well, it's almost like the first like set of episodes, the stakes almost lower again because it goes back to almost being in that Dragon Ball kind of category, where sometimes the only weird thing about it is you're watching it, and then like there's some of these things. It's like. It's almost like, did their powers get reduced or something when they went out into space? Because it's like, these guys are all like Super Saiyan 3, so there's no reason like these guys should really be having any trouble.
Does Pan,
I mean, it is that thing where Goku gets turned into a kid.
Does Pan go Super Saiyan?
I don't know about her yet. Not so far in the show, but it's like you just look at, you got Trunks and you got Goku. Mm-hmm. But like since Goku's, I guess the thing is Goku's turned to a kid, so you got to go maybe when he's turned to a kid, his powers are diminished a bit, I'm assuming. Nobody ever really explains that, but I'm just assuming that, like, filling the gaps in.
Maybe they just, if that's the case, maybe they should have just sent Vegeta into fucking space. Like, hey, Vegeta, why don't you die? You don't tell the Prince of all Saiyans. Like, okay, don't fucking talk. All right, he'll be going on for hours. Just let's let it go. All right, yeah, the fate of the universe totally isn't worth having a conversation with him. Fuck it.
Well, it's kind of like the weird thing where they do it's like, okay, we're supposed to send like 6 guys into space to go like do this, but it's almost like, why don't you just send everybody into space? This seems like a really big deal. You got 1 year to get these black Dragon Balls back. If you don't get them back, the world gets destroyed. Are you literally just going to send 3 people up there and just kind of go, oh, okay.
In one ship?
Yeah. Well,
rather than different units?
Well, I mean, like, there's supposed to be like 6 of them going, and then Pan gets in there and hits the button, so only 3 of them go.
She gets excited.
And then it goes into your classic kind of like Japanese, like 3 characters, where you got kind of like the happy-go-lucky main guy, the smarter, older guy, which strange enough in this one's Trunks. Even though he's like much younger than Goku, but just compared to Goku, and especially Kid Goku, now he becomes like the older, wise guy, even though he's not technically older. And then you got Pan, who's just a female character. Because, that's like always like, in mostly everything Japanese, that's like the character arc. Cowboy Bebop's like that. You got Samurai Champloo's like that. Even
their color schemes, even their color schemes, because you look at like Pan, she's wearing red, she's way more rambunctious and way more like spontaneous. Trunks is a lot more like calculating, reserved, and Goku is just kind of like happy-go-lucky. And yeah, he's kind of like wearing the cooler color. I guess it's a little half and half because he's blue and he's wearing yellow, so it's a little bit of a half and half kind of thing for that.
Mm-hmm. But I will say this though, like overall, those handful of first couple discs of episodes I've been watching, they're really good. And I think it's they kind of like it's like they're back into space, but it's like, since they tone it down a bit, so it's not just like there was this humongous evil villain and so on, they kind of focus more on the adventure aspect. And then since they're not trying to slow down for the comics, they kind of go at their own pace. So it feels much more smoother. It's not like that. Because, the worst part of something about Dragon Ball Z is there's this handful of seasons where you're literally just watching an entire season worth of Goku fighting Frieza or Goku fighting Cell. And there's always that point where it's like, okay, you can have a handful of these episodes, but when I'm sitting there watching 36 episodes of it, that's a lot.
Yeah.
So far, this one, it has a really good pace. The characters are good. It still feels just as Dragon Ball as ever, but I don't know. I'm digging it. I like it.
They're trying to bring it back in a big way. My thing with it is, there's the new one, Super, which is coming out sometime this summer, and I wouldn't mind possibly checking that out. I'm not like dying for it. It's more of like, I'm not gonna lie, I do like Dragon Ball Z, but it's more than anything, I'll be honest, it's more of kind of like a nostalgia ride for me. Mm-hmm. I still do. It's not like, oh, this is beneath me, whatever. I think it is one of those things though. You do have to grow up with it. I don't think you could really show anybody who didn't grow up with it, like, oh, this is gonna be the coolest thing ever. Just watch it. I think it is something. I'd almost kind of be there, or maybe not back in the 80s, or at least back in the 90s when it was first brought to Toonami in America, So I think...
Well, I think that kind of goes with a lot of things that are sort of... I'm almost going to say it's sort of a Japanese kids level. Well, not just Japanese, though, because I think there's some things you could come into much later in Japanese. But it's something like... I always say things like Mario and Sonic. Like, if you didn't play Mario and Sonic as a kid, would you have that extreme love... or even Zelda, too. Would you have that high level of love for them when you're older? That's why I think there's a lot of people nowadays that they go, Mario, Sonic, who the fuck cares? Because they didn't grow up with them. Mm-hmm. So they just look at them as these kind of dumb characters. And I'll say, like, I sort of look at when I see, like, modern characters that are trying to be Mario and Sonic, I'm like, why the fuck do I want to play that? Because I didn't grow up with them, so, like, why do I care about these characters?
Well, you think back on, like, all, like, the rip-offs they had, because, don't get me wrong, it's one of my favorite characters, but Sonic is basically somewhat of a rip-off of Mario, to an extent.
Yeah.
But then you think of all the characters who are trying to rip off Sonic the Hedgehog, like Bubsy the cat.
Oh, yeah, Bubsy. And then you had...
Rascal.
Yeah, and then you had Awesome Possum.
Blitz the cat.
Mm-hmm. There's trying to be all these, so many...
Trying to be Mario.
More people trying to rip off... Yeah, and there's almost more people trying to rip off more Sonic than Mario at that time period.
Crash Bandicoot was Sonic the Hedgehog as fuck.
Yeah, exactly.
And another thing, like, I'll say this real quick. Do you remember the game Rascal? Do you remember that game? I'm not sure if you ever played it, but do you remember the trailer or the commercial?
Yes. I don't know if I remember the trailer commercial, but...
Basically what it was is this young, hip-looking 90s kid. It was for the PlayStation. And what happens is... The whole thing is like, your father's trapped in a dream, and you gotta go save him. You are a rascal. You go through dreams. It was like, that was the whole concept. Mm-hmm. And their tagline was, move over, Mario. Now that right there, maybe they're trying to be hip and like daring, but that's one of those things when you're a kid, that's like the defining line you drew in the sand, like, what the fuck did you just say? It was like, you took that shit like, well, no. Say, what the fuck did you just say?
Yeah, it's like, yeah, fuck you. It's like, Mario's fucking my man. Like, I think that's the kind of arcade people who go like, yeah, our game's gonna top Mario. But the second you say that, you just realize that everybody who fucking loves Mario is like, fuck you.
And you know what? I never saw Rascal 2, so fuck you, Rascal. Shit.
Yeah, exactly.
Fuck you, Rascal. I hope that whole company went fucking under, all right?
Well, it's like, you know, I
Hopefully
was
the programmers never had fucking jobs again. I hope they're out there shooting up with fucking George Clooney in Tomorrowland. Look for that space heroin. Fuck Rascal. Fuck them up their ass.
and it's one of those ones like,
I'm joking. They're just fuck the marketing campaign. I don't really give a shit, but yeah. No, but fuck Rascal.
but it is always funny because you get those games and like, you know, like how forgotten is that game nowadays? And I, you know, I was thinking about, you know, with something like Super Mario 64, like that game for being okay, that game is just about 20 years old by now, which is kind of hard to believe because I remember yesterday when you could walk into an FEO Schwartz and see Super Mario 64 playing on the TV screen.
I remember if you left that game alone long enough, I remember because walking into a Blockbuster and you could play the game. Shit, think about that. There's a time where I guess you can still go to like a Best Buy or whatever and play a video game. But I remember,
Well, Walmart
walking
still
into
has it. Like, and I think GameStop has it, but
do you remember walking into rental stores though? For whatever reason, rental stores blow my mind. You walk into a rental store and play a video game.
yeah.
That just for whatever reason blew my mind more. I know the GameStop and Best Buy still has it, but the fact is now rental stores just kind of like, yeah, we're one of few left. Get your shit and leave. But there was a time they had enough traffic where they could have multiple games, like a PlayStation or an N64 hooked up, so you could stop there and play for a minute.
Well, that was always the thing. Like, that's like that. You'd go to a store and then you finally were able to play like, oh fuck, Mario 64 or Star Fox, and you played like this is the most fucking amazing thing ever. And then like you get that little bit of taste of it, and then you want more. But as a kid, you're like, you don't have any other way of getting it. It's just like, I don't have a fucking income. Like, gotta kind of like wait this one out.
I remember like, because Mario 64 was one of those things I heard about. I just knew there's a new Mario game coming out. I didn't really know how big or what it was exactly. So I remember just walking around the video game section. I just remember hearing this weird snoring noise. Like, what the hell was that? And I walk around. I'm like, oh, that's the N64 controller. And then I just remember seeing Mario. That blew my mind. If you left Mario alone long enough, he'd just fall asleep. He'd be like there sleeping. I'm like,
oh yeah,
what is? And I grabbed it like, oh my god! I was just like blown away because I knew a new Mario game was coming out. I knew it was for the 64. I just saw the 3D rotating head. I'm like, oh, that's probably just something for the commercial. And I actually saw that was the actual game. My third grade mind was blown.
Well, it's that thing. It's like, you know, like people always kind of forget, but it's like when that game came out, that was like full on 3D. I mean, there was probably some PC games that kind of had that going, but nothing on the consoles yet. And the thing about like, okay. Think about that game. Okay, if that's the first pretty much full-on 3D console game, give or take, you know, I'm just gonna say yeah. You know, there's always something that mostly always beats it there first, but maybe it wasn't that great of a game or something. But that game, and I'll say this: would you say that that's probably still one of the top 10 best 3D games out there?
Probably one of the ones that still stands up. Yeah, one of the ones that's still like.
Yeah, and it's the very first one, and it's 20 years old. And well, I'll say this: it's like I think that was the last best Mario game. I don't think there's been a better Mario game since Mario 64. I mean, I like the ones previous, but like if you take from Mario 64 on, do you think there's a game better than Mario 64?
Probably not. I mean, granted, keep in mind that's coming from like. Being
nostalgia,
being like 9 years old, playing this
90s,
yeah, 90s, playing this game.
There was a lot of Mountain Dew then. It was if there was a lot of alcohol and drugs in the 80s, there was a lot of Mountain Dew and Surge in the 90s. So sometimes memories are a little distorted.
With Beck's I'm a loser, baby, so why don't you kill me? Playing constantly with this like tie-dye
and Spice Girls.
Tie-dye haze over everything, And then snap-on bracelets.
Yeah, that would only after about like 50 slaps would totally like bust. Mm-hmm. But no, I know there is that kind of nostalgia there. And I mean, but there is that sort of thing. Sometimes it's like, you make a game, and Mario's a good example of being able to, like, Mario has, like, topped himself multiple times, but I don't think that after Mario 64, he was able to totally, like, top himself. Because, okay, you got Mario, you got the original Mario Brothers. That game's pretty cool and it's all right. But then you get, Super Mario Brothers, and you get this full-on kind of levels, and all this kind of platforming going on, all this stuff you never really saw before. Well, then you think Super Mario Brothers 3, that really tops it, because now you got these secret levels, you can move to your own which way you want to go, all kinds of different stuff. And then you get Mario World, it almost tops it once more. Better graphics, cool items. You know, the secrets are there. The music track's even better because it's on Super Nintendo. You know, Mario 64. Once again, you're in the 3D realm. But after that point, it's like, don't get me wrong. Like, you got games like, well, Mario Sunshine. It was fun, but wasn't as good as Mario 64.
Well, take this.
And then Mario Galaxy, which was really good and pretty darn close, but still, once again,
Well, take this into account. That was still a time when video games were when we played Mario 64. That was still a time when video games were considered a children's toy. The other day, I went into Target and I got me. I just started playing the game and I like it, but I still got to figure stuff out. I got Far Cry 4 because it was on sale and I wanted to get a new game. And while I was looking at it, little kid, and a young dad walk by, and he's all like, Dad, Far Cry 4, Far Cry 4. Like, no, you got to finish Bloodborne first. That was one of those things. Like, so right now, I mean, take a kid this day and age. I really got to sound like a fucking old man on his rocker. But I mean, this day and age, that's got to be like, so like, hey, you want to play a fun game, Timmy? Yeah, sure. All right. Here's Mario Brothers. Like, where's the cocaine and the hookers and the chainsaw weapon? I'm just,
no, it's a game about fun.
Yeah.
Fuck
in
fun.
Imagination,
Fuck you
know? Relate.
Well, it's weird because like now, like I noticed that like I'm that guy. Like there'll be the kid fucking buying Bloodborne and Far Cry 4, and I'm the one's like, you got a copy of Splatoon here?
I mean, I know I still see kids walk around with like Mario and Sonic T-shirts more than when I was a kid. So
well, that's because it's like you can actually get them, unlike when we were a kid.
But I got a feeling, maybe I'm wrong here. I'm sure I know there are kids that like it. My nephews like it. That being said, like, all right, my youngest nephew, he loved Mario and Sonic. That being said, though, when I got I got when I was last visiting my folks, and I got what was it? I bought Last of Us. Yeah. I'm like, dude, I don't know if you can watch this game. I don't want you watching this game. It's kind of scary. It might be bad for you. He says, no, I want to watch it. My brother's like, yeah, he could watch it. That kid was glued. He was into the game. He was watching the game. He was sold on it. Back when I was a kid, that would have been like such like a fucking cutting edge. That would have been, I mean, well, cutting edge definitely. So
well, plus because you would have been like, okay, I'm being ripped from my 16-bit world into this. Oh my god, what is going on?
Not even that. I just meant like as far as like the graphics, the story, not even the graphics. I mean just the story, the what happens. I mean like 20 minutes in the game, a little girl dies. And I was for the hell of it, I was just watching like some of the cutscenes from that. And that is seriously one of the most impactful openings I've ever seen to like nearly any game. The opening to The Last of Us. I'm not going to say it's like the greatest game ever made, but storytelling wise,
no, yeah,
it's definitely
a good game. Yeah.
It's not going to say it's one of the greatest, but I think storytelling wise, I think it's one of the games that actually tell a really good story and kind of not have that that age barrier to it. I mean, not by age barrier, generation barrier. And
yeah,
that right there was. I could not imagine, like, you know, so after seeing that and then going over to like, now let's go watch them save the fucking princess, kids, you know, that's got to be like such a fucking jump.
Well, I think too, because you think about when we were kids, like what were like our mature games? Okay, we had things like Mortal Kombat was there, but and that was about the closest thing. We had Lethal Enforcers. I know was a big deal of a game too, because that was a game that a lot of parents didn't want their kids playing.
Well, we also had, keep in mind, what made a lot of our games, and still what makes most games what made a lot of them is like, well, it's just, you know, it was just, to them, it was just kind of like immature violence. Like a dude's face gets ripped off, gets kicked into like a pit of spikes. Now, even though that stuff still happens and happens way more beautifully and way more detailed now, it's a lot more of like just morally and story-wise kind of things. Like there's some game, like what was it? Like, all right, just take like this still leads into violence. Take like some of the violence out of. I guess no, you can't. Fuck it. All right, Grand Theft Auto 5. There is literally a mission where you have to torture a guy. You literally torture a guy for information, and turns out the guy knows nothing. And it's not just like, okay, close the door. You now just a cutscene of him getting tortured. You're literally doing all this stuff to him. You know what I mean? Pulling a teeth out,
yeah,
shocking him, all that. That's one of those things like back then, back in like in the 90s, you had something like that. That would have possibly got video games banned.
Yeah, because you had to ease into those kind of situations. I mean, you think about Grand Theft Auto 3 when that came out. That had such
You could
like big controversy, and it's really you look at Grand Theft Auto 3, it's like, well, what's really the big deal? I mean, technically, you're not doing anything bad unless you want to do something bad. You know, if you just do the straight up missions, you're being actually more of a decent guy getting rid of these criminals.
And the way the game presented it was, I remember the way the news presented it is like, yes, you could have sex with hookers and then kill them. It's just like, well, it doesn't want you to. Like, I guess you could though. It was.
It's like you
didn't
can.
have
It's not
anybody.
really. That's not.
Only people you
It's
had.
not really the game. It's kind of a feature.
Most defenders you had by that point were people who were either making the game or just fans. And by that point, most old video game fans were probably in their 20s, maybe by that point. So
Well, do you think that there will really be another? I mean, there'll always be some kind of controversy there, but do you think there's really going to be another big controversy game again? Like something that's like, I mean, big as, let's say, Grand Theft Auto or Lethal Enforcers or Mortal Kombat or even something like Night Trap. Do you think there'll be a game nowadays that actually has, some big controversy going on? Like not just necessarily. I guess like the only next step you could have is if you had a game where you literally played as like Nazis at like a Holocaust or something like that. That's like the only way I think you could step up that like controversy. And now you're just pushing to do it. You know what I mean? It's not
yeah,
like it's a natural progression. It's just like, hey, what's going to piss somebody off? Clearly, violence and torturing doesn't work anymore. Because that Grand Theft Auto 5 scene, nobody really talked about that.
it
Like,
happened.
it wasn't like, oh
I
my
heard for like
god.
one day, and then that was it.
Well, yeah, it's like maybe like okay, there might be one guy on Fox News ranting, but it wasn't like a big deal thing. Like,
Fox News is for it. Like,
Grand
that
Theft.
guy had a tan. Get him.
Well, it's like okay, in Grand Theft Auto 3, I mean, there was months and years where that game was being ridiculed, which Grand Theft Auto 5 just kind of came out, and I mean, it's not like anybody cares anymore. Mortal Kombat, there was so much that created an entire rating system because of that game. Um, you just think of certain games like that.
I think right now they're more focusing on, I think they realized, okay, all the violence and all the sexuality stuff that could have happened has already happened. I mean, they literally have a game. It's called, I think, Hatred, and you're basically playing a serial killer. I saw the trailer. It looked very much like it was just trying to piss people off. You're just some guy, like some like big, tall, dark guy, like trench coat. I think maybe you have a skull mask even. He's like, this world is filth. I fucking hate everything. And then he just walks out. He's just like mowing. Yeah, he's mowing down everybody with a machine gun. And I mean, I've only heard people mention it like 2 or 3 times. And whenever I hear it, I mean, it's on video game podcast, granted, but whenever I hear it, it's just kind of like people go, "Oh yeah, that fucking thing. It looks so fucking stupid." And I think most people have just kind of accepted it by this point because now you actually have, you have parents that are gamers. You have generations.
Yeah, I think that's the thing is once you have
30s
parents
and
that are
40s,
involved,
people in their 30s and 40s playing video
then
games.
then that controversy sort of goes away.
And then on top of that,
Uh,
I think right now I think video games are kind of going over another thing. It's just not video games. It's other mediums as well. But I think right now it's more of a like the whole like right now with feminism, they're trying to make a lot more stronger female characters in video games and trying to give them more roles and trying to make them all seem less try to make games seem less misogynistic and more for everybody rather than just this very kind of sexist like the guy always saves the girl kind of thing. I noticed they're trying to push.
well, they also used to have like, and that's not even like necessarily that. There was things like where you get a realistic shooter, but then the second you play as the female character, she's all like hoard up,
Exactly.
and it's just kind of like, oh, okay. It's like that's not what she would wear in the battle, but sure. Or you get your old fashioned Dungeons and Dragons one where it's like, okay, what's her like super armor? Well, it's just it's this armored coated bikini.
Exactly.
That's her super armor.
Well, magic protects
And
her from getting fucking chopped up. Fuck you, play the game.
And I think it's those ones like I guess it's those ones with like when there's a period where 90% of your audience was kind of men. Who cared? Because it's like, what you're gonna offend those 10% of women? The women are probably like, yeah, I want the bikini clad armor.
It's one of those things.
And then now it's like I think we've gone to a point where it's just like it's a very common that anybody can play a game. So now you got to kind of like appeal to a more broader audience. That's why you get characters like Laura Croft that kind of changed, whether you consider that good or bad. The thing that bothers me about Laura Croft is like I want my Laura Croft who's like an Arnold Schwarzenegger but as a female, where she's just kicking ass and taking names and not scared of what she's
Smoking a
doing. But
stogie.
yeah, exactly. That's like the Laura Croft that I like. It doesn't have to be like a sexual thing. Like she's like, oh, she's got big boobs. Like, no, no, no. Make her more of an action hero. Don't make her kind of like, oh, I'm scared. There's danger out there. I've never done this before. It's like I hate that type of character thing where it's like they're trying to progressively build her into like what she becomes. It's like bullshit. Get past that. Let's just get on with the game we want to play.
I get what you're saying there. I never played that one. I heard good things about it, but
No, no, no. I kid you not. That game's actually really fun. I liked it a lot. That was my only like. There's two complaints I had. I wish there was more animals in it because that's kind of like a big thing about Tomb Raider. I mean, come on. In the very first Tomb Raider, you get a battle of fucking T-Rex.
Mm-hmm.
Like, where the fuck's my T-Rex in that one? I know that. Like, I know that seems like an unrealistic thing, but that's what I want to see in my game. But it's more that thing. It's like I just didn't like, and I know it's like, games like okay, The Last of Us. Okay, that's fine if that one's kind of an emotional thing because it's kind of different. But when you're taking series that already kind of exist and now you're trying to fade them into like being like that, and it's like okay, you see it once and it's like okay, that's fine. But now it's like I don't know. It sounds like a weird thing, but it's like there's a time and a place for everything. Sometimes those like trying to put this emotional character in there. I just don't think it's always necessary in a video game, especially when it's supposed to be an action game.
Sometimes I think people are just kind of looking for a reason to complain about something. I feel like, I mean, you don't take a brain surgeon to realize that, but I mean, I think that now, because I'm all for having more empowered, stronger female characters in video games.
Oh yeah, no, I'm all about that too.
But it seems like sometimes there are like I don't know how I came across the video for it, and I'm not don't take me. I'm not being one of these like anti-feminism. I'm not being one of those guys by any means. But every once in a while, you'll see just like they're attacking me. All right, let me put it this way, because I'm just digging myself deeper in this hole. But just let me see if I can find a way to climb back out. So. Every once in a while, you'll see somebody just kind of looking to bitch about something. And it's kind of like, comparing something like Planet Terror to like some high-end art picture. You know what I mean? The two don't go together.
Like The Pianist or something.
Like, yeah, exactly. Like The Pianist, yeah. Or like, something kind of like... I'm trying to think of a better example right here. Something like very like comparing like 2001 Space Odyssey to like a W.S. Anderson. Wait, not W.S. Anderson. Paul W.S.
Anderson,
yeah.
like Resident
Yeah,
Evil.
Paul W.S. Anderson sci-fi movie. It'd be like trying to do that because sometimes they'll like compare something like what's her name? It's like fuck it, what's her name? Anita Sarkeesian. She's like this feminist gamer chick. Well, I'm not even sure she's really. I'm not saying this to be a dick. I'm not really sure if she's really a gamer, but she's always kind of like pointing the finger and always talking bad about how women are represented in video games. And it's like one of those things. It's not that you're wrong about that. You do make a lot of good points, but she only kind of picks like the absolute worst examples. It's kind of like, why is it?
She doesn't focus on the good, is what you're saying.
She doesn't focus on any of the good, and she'll like point out something kind of like, well, right.
So she's a negative Nancy, is what she is.
Kind of. I've only seen a few of her videos. It was one of those things like I watched a few and I got really annoyed, and like she disables her comments, and part of me understands why, because you probably get a bunch of little like 12-year-old assholes talking shit.
But at the same time, if you're gonna put yourself out on the internet, if you're gonna disable the comments, don't be a fucking pussy about it. See, like by doing this, you're not helping your own cause. Now you're just looking like a little bitch that can't take care of herself.
Like it's one of those things like
That's all I have to say. I don't fucking disable the comments on our videos, so fuck you.
No, but it's one of those things right there where it's like she will make some good points about how people are represented, how women are misrepresented in video games. And it's not like one of those things like a lot of times, I agree with you, but it's like you're picking the absolute worst examples and you never really give credit when it's due to something else. It'll be like kind of like, I don't know, like picking. I'll say this. Here's a good example of like Fallout 3. I love Fallout 3. I think Fallout 3 is a good game. I'm not going to lie. I think it's a little sexist because when you pick like, okay, here's a random outfit for, all right, I came across a Raider outfit. The guy version of the Raider outfit, no shirt, like wore a belt across the chest. Okay. Female version, same thing. Maybe she's wearing a bra or whatever over that. Okay, that makes sense. It's a Raider outfit. But when you come to say something like like, okay, here is like a treasure hunter outfit. Okay, guy fully clothed. Girl, belly shirt. It's like one of those things, okay, Now I think it seems a little, or kind of like, the guy, like when you just strip them down to their underwear. Guy, full like white t-shirt and like undershirt and boxers. Girl, like panties, bra. So I kind of understand like that right.
Even though that right there, it's like, well, that's technically what's the difference? That's literally the same thing, though. It's just a guy version of underwear to a woman's version of underwear and like a
Well,
character.
no, I mean,
I mean,
one's definitely a lot more like sexualized than the other though.
it's not. Maybe just put the man in a fucking speedo and just call it a day and just be like, yeah, there you
Well,
go.
one's way more like one's way more the guy like t-shirt, lady bra. That's the big difference, I think. One's a little bit more
I
sexualized
guess
than
it's
the other.
like that's sort of like a man's undershirt is like that.
I mean, it's not the end of the
Yeah, I
world.
guess you're saying.
It's not the end of the world. But I mean, I'm not. I mean, I think there is a difference though. So it's kind of one of those. I think that there are some changes that do need to happen. I think they are definitely getting better about that. But every once in a while,
Hmm.
you'll just see a video that like will just pick like one little detail. Like I want to say it was like something for Witcher. Like there's a part like you're apparently walking through a whorehouse in The Witcher, and people are like talking, "Oh, this is degrading to women." It's like, well, that's just a part of the story. You're just walking through there. You go anywhere else in the game, that's not there. This is just particularly for this setting or the story, you know?
Yeah, no, I always kind of hate those kind of things. Because those people mostly that are complaining, it's not like they're doing anything about it, or
Mm.
you know what I mean. It's like they just want to like tear apart like what's going on just for their own satisfaction, almost more than anything else. It's like there's 1,000 games where that's like there's never that problem. It's just a couple
I
things.
saw one that just pissed. It was some indie game. I don't know how I came across this. And like this is the thing that pisses me off. Like I look up one or two videos on YouTube regarding this, and then suddenly it sends me like a bunch of fucking links to other videos like it. Like no, I just wanted to watch one or two. You don't got now just for like next 4 months down my feed. I'm gonna have a bunch of like feminist and anti-feminist videos. All fucking So like there's one I
Yeah.
saw where it was like so fucking annoying. There's like some indie game. It was like the characters looked very cartoony, very cartoony. Like there's no way looking at this image could get you hard. It was like so fucking cartoony. And the character, one was a female character with like a very kind of like tiny, almost like pencil thin waist that came out this very broad, kind of like old timey dress, right? Kind of like this old timey
Hmm.
cone type dress. And fully clothed. The guy's like, this right here is I don't really approve of this. It's a guy, I do. I don't approve of this right here. I believe this is sending a negative message to girls that they must remain this thin when it is simply just a negative stereotype. And I will be reporting this, and I will be boycotting this. Go into the description section to click to the link to boycott this game with me. It's just like, are you fucking serious? I'm pretty sure because nothing about the game looked realistic. It was this very over the top art style.
Very cartoony.
Yeah, just like what the
Yeah.
fuck are it's just I don't know, some I'm not gonna say like some people
Yes, stuff like that just pisses me off. It's just like one of those ones like just people. It comes to that point where it's like, dude, you should be fucking. I mean, I know sometimes we always nitpick on things too every once in a while, but like in general, it comes to this point. It's like you should be fucking grateful that there's a video game that you can actually play as a guy or a girl in it, and you don't have to fucking live in some like hellish fucking road warrior zone where you have to fight for your life and for water and gasoline every single fucking day.
it comes
You know what
back
I
to
mean? Where people are like strung up and raped, and that's just for lunch.
that's just your go-to whenever you just have an argument. Like, look, all I'm saying is I think they could have done a better job with the characterization of Vision in Avengers 2. Oh yeah, well, at least we live in a world where we got Vision, where instead of some other country where we get same thing.
Where there's just a vision of you getting raped.
That's it's a merc, god damn it.
So there is always that kind of thing. It's just like it's funny how people sort of do when they get that really nitpicky. That's why I always just try to back off sometimes and go, wait a second, let's just really enjoy this stuff. I mean, you kind of like make fun of some small like things here and there, like certain actions that happen, but overall, just kind of accept what it is and just be kind of grateful for what you
I
get.
was talking to a friend a little bit ago, and it was I'm not I'm oh, I love the guy, so he will remain nameless. But we were talking about the Star Wars trailer, and he was just kind of like, I don't know, it was just another Star Wars trailer. I'm just like, just another Star Wars trailer. It's like, yeah, people way overreacting about that. I mean, they were kind of people were crying and so excited. Like, yeah, I'm not crying and like jizzing my pants over it, but I mean, you gotta admit that's a pretty cool trailer. I mean, yeah, there was lightsabers and they were in space, and yeah, we saw the Millennium Falcon again. I mean, we didn't know that was coming. It's just like how long has it been since you've seen the fucking Falcon? I was one of those things like I literally just like said like, what the fuck do you want from it? Isn't that the main shit we like in it? What do you want? I just want them to just do something maybe a little different. Like the movie's not fucking out yet. They're showing us the shit we want to see. The fuck do you want from it, man?
Yeah, there's just those people out there. It's almost like they're just so hard to please. And it's like I don't know, just those personalities. It's like I just don't. It's just they're like a letdown. You know what I mean? They bring everybody else down around them, and it's just like, dude, I'm so excited for like Star Wars. I don't care like what it is. Like I love Star Wars Episode 1, 2, and 3. Like so, of course, I'm 7, 8, and 9 is probably gonna be totally badass.
And like I mean, I like 1, 2 is okay. I think 3 is a lot better. But even if they weren't, it was one of those things like. I mean, I don't fucking hate those movies, and even if I did hate those movies, it's just like, well, let's see, maybe this seventh one's the one that does a better job.
Yeah, and technically, you always look at I look at Star Wars 1, 2, and 3. It's like there's nothing in those movies to hate. Maybe there's some things that's like maybe not as good as you might wish, but there's nothing there to hate. Nothing there to even
Jar Jar.
Complain about.
I still don't like Jar Jar.
I don't even think he's somebody you can hate. You can maybe like dislike him, but not hate.
Okay, fucking like Kathleen Kennedy comes out and says Jar Jar solo movie. I don't know. Like Hostel.
If it's like that one that Kevin Spiff was talking about, where he's like the fucking predator.
Yeah, that'd be cool. No, I'm saying like, all right, Jar Jar solo movie. It's basically a remake of Hostel starring Jar Jar, only he does not make it out. You'd be there for that.
Well, yeah, that just sounds like an interesting movie in itself. But it's like, it's one of those ones like I don't think that like, would the movies be better without Jar Jar?
Yeah,
maybe that's probably cute. I think it'd be better if he just had a better personality, or not like personality, but like just more of a, just make him like a good Gungan that like actually has some skill and doesn't like just go off like retard luck.
Well, a little fun tidbit I heard was originally he was, and you could the way the story goes along, you could actually possibly see that. Originally, he was apparently written to be like some like convicts or whatever they bumped into out there, and he saved them, and he was basically just this badass like mercenary
on like a
mercenary.
He's like got like I was gonna say a motorcycle, but it's like he's in the water. I guess he can be a motorcycle. It's like some kind of like jet ski gang.
Yeah, something like that. Some underwater biker gang. Maybe just rides a giant like fucking like Aquaman, like a death metal looking like seahorse. He revs up little ear things like black bubbles shoot out. Like, but looks like a fucking dragon. No, it was originally. I mean, this is just like something I heard, and who knows? This could just be rumors. But apparently, in an earlier draft of the script, he was like some badass mercenary. They kind of meet in a similar way, but when he's like, I'm not going back to fucking Gungan town or whatever the fuck it's called. And when they get there, it's just like he's gonna face the death penalty. He's like, well, we need this. Well, shit, we need some help getting through there. Okay, how about can we bring this guy with us because he's gonna get the death penalty? So can he come along? Because I saved his life, so I get the whole life debt thing. And they're like, okay, he can go with you. And then later,
you sure you want this rapist and crack smoker and all around hellraiser?
He's like, Misa really good. He's like a fucking crack pipe punched over in the corner.
They're like, yeah, due to Jedi code, we have to take. Jedi code doesn't allow us to choose between rapists and teachers.
Misa like Jedi code, yeah. I'm fucking wide-eyed and shit. And they end up in the Vader. He apparently goes on. He works them for a while, but then tries to screw him over. And there's this part where he just has this big like when things apparently go bad in the third act, like when they. Because they're leading the army. I don't remember the third act so well. There's a big battle going on. that point when it seems like the good guys might lose. It's
He's
because
back
of him.
behind the amps, fucking like snorting cocaine.
Yeah. Well, it's like he screws them over. So originally he was meant to be like this big like anti-hero kind of character that turns out to be a villain at the end.
So you're saying if he was more like fucking what's his name from Superman?
Lobo.
Yeah, Lobo. Like if he was like Lobo, that'd be a badass version of him.
Apparently that's just what I heard. I mean, I read it somewhere. Who knows if it's true? But that's what I heard on like or
No, it's
read.
probably written by the same fucking guy that wrote the ending of Dragon Ball GT and told you about the Misty shower scene in Pokemon. Same guy still writing.
Same year, good guy, different like many years later. Like Red
well,
Core 38 strikes again. Screen name.
Well, that's probably a good place to leave off with. It's getting sort of late. Jurassic Park comes out tomorrow. I want to be as refreshed as possible for it.
I will say real quick, though, I will leave us on this note. I called you earlier, but you didn't pick up. It's okay, though. I forgive you. What ended up happening...
I didn't get a phone call on here.
Oh, well, I called it. But anyway, it's all good. So what ended up happening, apparently they're having an early screening of Jurassic Park down the road at like the little Sundance Theater or whatever. And I found out like 10 minutes too late. So I was calling saying, oh, no podcast time. We're going to go see Jurassic Park. Because actually the director's doing a Q&A just right down the street.
Oh, you should have went there.
I didn't know about it. One of my coworkers posted a thing on Instagram just waiting to see Jurassic Park 4 with the director doing a Q&A at the end. It was on Instagram. What the fuck? And I didn't know about it. So I literally called the thing. No tickets left, of course. So
yeah, that one might have sold out. Probably.
I literally called you saying, "Yeah, no podcast. I go to see Jurassic Park director. Bye, hang up." I was literally running out the door because I had like 10 minutes left, but then like 15 minutes, and if I called like a Lyft or something, I probably could have got there in time. But they already were sold out of tickets. So
they probably were sold out even before that too, something like that.
Yeah.
But I know because it's playing right now in Los Angeles, but it comes out in regular folk theaters tomorrow.
The simpleton folks. Simple casual folk.
And by the time this podcast comes out, probably be past the time we've already seen Jurassic Park, but whatever.
Yeah.
But till then, go check out oldmanorange.com. Leave us reviews on iTunes and Stitcher and all that good stuff. Follow me at Spencer S. Holmes at Twitter.
Follow me at Dunigan Ryan.
And till then, I'm Spencer Scott Holmes.
I'm Ryan Dunigan.
We'll see you some other time.
Thanks for listening to the Old Man Orange podcast. Check out our website at oldmanorange.com for even more podcasts, cartoons, videos, music, and more. Send us an email at oldmanorangepodcast@yahoo.com. Be sure to subscribe, share, rate, and review us on iTunes, Podomatic, or any of the other fine sites we might be located on. If you want to help out even more, click on the Amazon or GameStop links on our webpage before you make any purchases there. It won't cost you a penny, but it sends us a little something our way. Thanks again, and tune in next week for more Old Man Orange Podcast.
I forgot to tell you to check out the link I sent you.
Oh, I did check it out. I actually look at it right now. The one that's got the Kirby, the Pikachu, and the Sonic the Hedgehog.
You know who that is?
No, I can't tell who that is, though.
That's Guy Fieri.
Is that who that is?
Yeah. I don't know why. That's
the creepier one's the Sonic one. I don't know why that's the creepiest one, but
I thought the Kirby one was the scariest
Pikachu one.
Pikachu one's just kind of funny. But,
Pikachu one, yeah.
But Douchachu. But no, the way that I came across that was I was on Twitter, and I don't know why, but there is like this would have been a good podcast conversation, but it just slipped my mind, even though I had it written in front of me this whole time. Somebody on Twitter was like, for some reason, there's 2 or 3 pictures right in a row, like advertising Guy Fieri as Sonic. I was like, what, is he doing the voice in the movie, or is he going to be in the movie or something? I wasn't really so sure. So I just went on Google and Bing, checked them both out, and I just came across these fucking frightening photos. Those are like I only sent you 3 of them, but they were just
But there's a whole list of frightening, scary pictures
of like Guy Fieri as video game characters, and it was all. The internet really is a place for anything. It really is a place for fucking anything. I was just like, what the fuck? And I feel like I gotta delete my internet history, or I gotta do something. I gotta maybe literally bleach my computer, because the NSA, they gotta go through some shit. I'm sure there's some weird ass shit they gotta come across. But okay, this 5.3 guy, case number 5.3, Dunigan Ryan. Yeah, he's got. I want to know why he was looking up Guy Fieri's Sonic. There's more than one search, so we know it's not a typo. So it's now I'm just what the fuck, So I just went down this image
just weird rabbit hole of creepy images,
and then eventually led to weird ass shit. I just went down because I thought there was a story or something. I just assumed that okay, he's playing Robotnik in the movie, or he's doing a voice or something, because he's doing a voice of a character or something, because there's 2 or 3 pictures of him as Sonic in Twitter today. So when I click on this thing, it just leads us down weird rabbit hole of Guy Fieri as video game characters. This is fucking frightening, man. This is just it's nightmare fuel.
I'm Pete. That's Brian.
Yeah.
There's Lou. We are Painted Black Podcast. We are Painted Black Comics.
If you could describe the show, what would you describe it?
Horribly offensive.
Balls to the walls.
A good time.
I don't know.
Very
Unprofessional? I wouldn't be
Bang,
surprised
zoom!
if fucking Barney heard some screaming from next door. Right?
Hey, Fred, I got kicked out of the house. Can I stay with you guys for a little bit? No, Barney. We're not friends like that.
You better go stay with the zoo.
Dum-dum, you should have said yes to your wife. Can you imagine what Disney World would have been like had he lived longer?
No Jews. That's the primary difference.
I feel like he funded the Nazis in some way. I can't prove it.
The first fucking model of their helmet had ears on it.
Oh, the Basketeers are coming over the hill. What the fuck's going on?
Dosan sounds like a Renaissance painter.
He was the 5th Ninja Turtle. He wasn't right in the head. They didn't really bring him out too much. I'd like to fight the foot.
That's probably why they had those stupid ass toppings.
Bubble gum.
Fuck, who let those sounds order the pizza?
I want
again?
stink bug.
Who put Legos on this shit? Can I give you money for sex?
I would enjoy making a transaction for a blowjob.
Can I get a receipt with that pussy?
Oh yeah, how do I follow this?
Do you wash those briefs with starch?
Make that booty clap. Why don't you?
Let's hear Randy Newman doing the song for Pompeii.
Oh, he's on the spot.
Whoa, it's smoke. Volcano. Whoa, it's the smoke. Vesuvius.